All right, guys, I got to turn on my own partner. So, as you well know, I work with DraftKings, right? But before I give you a pitch or a promo code, what in the hell is going on over there? You believe that Rakic is going to lose to Ankalaev. How did you get to that conclusion? There's boxes in Ankalaev's favor. Ankalaev has a better record. Ankalaev has done better as of late. Ankalaev was not out for a year with a major surgery. Okay, great. Let's stop right there. I got to tell you, we got to stop right there. Which one would you rather go have a boxing match with if you had to? Who would you rather have a kickboxing match with if you had to? Who would you rather grapple with? Who would you rather wrestle with? I mean, not for nothing. Where is it that you believe that Ankalaev can beat Rakic? And by the way, it's a very close fight. And there is a large part of me that does favor Ankalaev. Like I do see where there is some very meaningful things for recency, for momentum. One guy's coming off a whole bunch of wins, and one guy's coming off a knockout loss, and before that, he was having knee surgery. I mean, not for nothing, those numbers do matter, but that guy that I'm referring to also has less fights, which is better. That's better. It's unique to MMA, boxing. But you don't want a whole bunch of them. It's unique. You want to be good at soccer? You want to be better than the other guy at soccer? Go play more soccer. I understand that. Be better at basketball? Go get yourself more basketball games. It's probably going to work out, but it's not like that in MMA. There's a lot of wear on Ankalaev. Ankalaev is so good, right? Like, I don't want to bring you a piece and make you think I'm putting it down. Like, this guy's so good. He's better than you know. You know Moldavsky, just for example? You know Nemkov, just for example? They both fought Ankalaev. They both lost. You won't find that. You go to the Underground Forum, MMA.tv, go to SureDog, go to the Fight Finder. And those are the official databases. Those are your official scores. Like when Bruce Buffer reads out Ankalaev's all-time record on Saturday, he's not going to include those matches. But they have a system in Russia. And it is amongst the best system I've ever seen to get experience in this sport without doing the actual sport. And amongst that system, there's even school and educational programs that have MMA, combat, they call it combat sambo. Combat sambo is very real. It's very, very productive. That is what Fedor came from and represented. That is what Khabib came from and represented. Khabib would never tell anybody he's from anything other than sambo. He's proud of it. Same with Fedor. Merab just won a combat sambo tournament this very year. And when I tell you that this stuff is extremely applicable, and they have that, they offer that even in the school systems. And it was along those lines, it was along that what we would call in America junior development. But either way, Ankalaev met up with Moldavsky and got his hand raised. He met up with Nemkov and got his hand raised. Like, Ankalaev is incredible, but you guys have changed the story. I mean, my own partners at DraftKings have the only person that is favored to beat Piera in a mythical matchup is Ankalaev. And he's a 2-1 favorite, but he's a 2-1 favorite because history matters, and a dominant Dagestani wrestler over a lifelong Brazilian kickboxer. Just what history knows since 1993. That where are you getting that from? The wrestler part. Where are you getting that? You've added that to the Ankalaev story. You've taken some great things away from him, but you've also added that he's this masterful grappler. He identifies as a kickboxer, just so you're clear on that. Now, I want to go back to Rakic, who's younger, by the way. I want to go back to Rakic, who's stronger, by the way. I want to go back to Rakic, who's bigger, by the way. There are so many things in his column, okay? People love to say MMA math doesn't work. Those people are idiots, truly. You have expressions in a vernacular that exists within the space, but it's only said by fools. They will talk about a guy's footwork. If you ever hear a guy talking about another guy's footwork, he doesn't really know the sport very well. Do you know what footwork means? Just so you it's where his feet move. It's nothing. You will hear guys talk about, well, this guy's orthodox versus this guy's a southpaw. Okay, great. Do you know what that means? Does he lead his left leg or does he lead his right leg? That's all that it means, and nothing more. So I'm just sharing with you, like, there is a big built-in belief in this sport that has purely to do, guys, stay with me. Britt, do you need a 20? Bit of delivery. They lost our bags, by the way. You want to know why I'm wearing this beautiful robe? Because it's the only thing that I have. The shirt that I wore here, that I have to wear tomorrow for media, I'm washing in my sink, and I plan to dry it with the iron. As I like get the wrinkles out, I'm going to have to do real slow, and that's how I'm going to dry it. Got this damn robe, and my wife called down and got some toiletries, and they make sure she had a 20 spot. All right. And when I tell you that they tell you MMA math doesn't matter, and it's matchups, styles make fights. Okay. And those people, and they say it proudly. They put a suit on, they'll get a job with a commentary team. They'll say styles make fights. MMA math doesn't matter. Okay, they've also just told you they don't make any money gambling. There is no greater indicator out there. If you don't have head-to-head competition, the very next step is common opponent. The NCAA, which will do seeding, the Olympic Committee, which will do seeding for every sport you can possibly think of. If you don't have head-to-head competition, you instantly defer. Step 2 is common opponent, or what people love to call MMA math, that they love to say doesn't work. Yeah, it does. And there is a common opponent, and his name is Anthony Smith, who's a very good friend of mine and a coworker. And I spoke to him about this, and he was very complimentary of both these guys. But Anthony Smith said, if Pereira and if any other 205-pounder can be beaten by somebody, it's Rakic. And that's true. Rakic had a fight with Prohaska, and it was underpromoted. It was underpromoted, and it was massively watched because it was part of UFC 300. I mean, it was one that slipped through the cracks. Aljo, coming off a world title run, fighting on the undercard out there. Rakic and Prohaska, I think, jerked the curtain, by the way. Holly Holm goes out there with Kayla Harrison, and that's a fight that you're going to look back on 3 and 4 years from now, and it's going to be so praised and so looked at. I mean, right, 300 was one of these really weird nights, and this was a massively under-promoted, very watched fight, and people know that Rakic lost after coming off an injury. He stumbled in the rankings. He stumbled in the media. He hasn't been his normal outspoken dick of a self, but that's a code that Rakic has. Rakic believes he lost the right to do those things. He believes to a degree what you believe, that he is somehow on a down. He's not on a down. He had one completed round with Prohaska. Prohaska's a handful. He had one completed round. The 3 judges ringside agreed on one thing. He won the completed round. I mean, I'm just sharing with you, like, if you think there's a guy, he's coming off an injury, and then he went out and he got knocked out by a guy, like, you got the wrong guy. Now, my partners, DraftKings, have got him, okay, and this is the most important thing, a minus 300. So you bet $1,000 on Rakic. You get your 1,000 back, and then you get 3,000 more if he wins. Okay, great. Now, but let's go and take a look at Ankalaev, because it's not even money. It's not even. Ankalaev is a plus 380. What does that mean? It means if you bet $380 and he wins, you win. You get your $380 back, and you get 100 more. So you're going to risk 380 to get 1 on the favorite. Ankalaev's the favorite. I see that too. And in spite of the hypocrisy that this piece makes. But guys, I'm trying to talk to you about value. Rakic can win. Rakic is going. He is going to win moments of this fight. I believe very confidently that he's going to win a round of this fight. Well, now all of a sudden our boy just needs one more, right? He ain't got to win this whole fight. He's going to win every sequence, every exchange. He can take his shots, but it turns out old Rakic can take a hell of a shot. And one thing about Ankalaev, now this is a guy that's cloaked in success. I mean, this guy's incredible. Come on, he's got the best manager in all these. He's got the best team. Rest his soul, coaching Magomed father. Now it goes down to Khabib. Guy is cloaked in success. I don't take that from him, but when you're looking at anybody You can be critical. You can find things that guy can do to get better. And I will share with you, when the finish line is near, every horse will sprint. No matter how tired that son of a bitch is, if it can see the barn's in sight, that horse will take off. It wants to get done. It wants to get to the finish. And I don't see Ankalaev do that. When you hear that 30-second clapper, everybody else that moves like they've been whipped, I don't see that urgency from Ankalaev. So for Rakic to be able to come in and steal rounds from him, Racic's very smart. Rakic already knows these things, I guarantee. I haven't spoke to him, I guarantee. Rakic knows how to win a fight. He knows how to win rounds. And it's a massively big deal. Guys, I want to talk to you again about these odds. Will you recall when Islam fought Charles? I know you guys love Charles. I love Charles too. But will you recall that? Because Charles had no chance. There was nobody that thought Charles could beat Islam. It was a disaster of a matchup. And with that said, Charles was a minus 300. Minus 300 represents domination, and it represents a finish. When you get to minus 400, 500, 600, you're guaranteeing a finish. You're guaranteeing complete. That's what the odds, that's what they're saying. This is how they feel in their heart, and they're willing to part with their money. Okay, when DraftKings starts giving you odds of 5 and 600, they're letting you know, hey, go ahead and do a proc bet. Make 10 to 1 on your money, because as soon as you get to the 4 and 5 and 6 and 10, every now and then when that comes around, we're guaranteeing dominance. This match should not have even been made. That is DraftKings disagreeing with the commission that the match should have even been sanctioned. That's what happens when you get to 3 to 1. So DraftKings, my partners, believe, based on these numbers, I'm talking about value right now, they believe that Ankalaev is more likely to beat Rakic than they were confident that Islam was going to beat Charles. Does that sound right to you? And you could do the same thing with Volkanovski. When he went into the first fight with Islam, I realized, guys, that turned out to be the fight of a lifetime. I get that. I'm talking about prior to the fight and going into it. Volk had never been to that weight. He didn't belong there. He wasn't the right guy for it. He was a 3 to 1 underdog. It was supposed to be complete dominance. And I'm not taking you back to what happened in the fight. I'm taking you back to how you felt before the fight. DraftKings is more confident that Ankalaev is going to beat Rakic than they were that Islam was going to beat Volk, and that one was very obvious. Now, I want to go back to Anthony Smith. I want to be very polite here. These are Anthony's friends. Anthony works with these guys. And I don't want to, what Anthony said, Anthony was very complimentary of them both. But he did comment that, listen, Rakic comes out and he gets in a fight. He gets in your face and you feel Rakic the moment that referee says go. And he said, Ankalaev waits. Ankalaev doesn't do a lot. And I see that same thing. And Ankalaev is a snowball, man. When that thing gets going downhill, it grows. But he feels his way into it. Ankalaev's not going to push a pace on you. Most of those Dagestani guys will use that weapon. They've got that deep cardio, and even if it's not quite like Khabib's, boy, they got a deep cardio, and they're going to throw some things at the backboard. And Ankalaev just doesn't do that. Anthony had commented that he was surprised at how little Ankalaev did, and he complimented when Ankalaev did it. He did it very well. Okay, but talking to Anthony, who never gave me a full prediction, it was very clear what Anthony thought, having fought both of these guys. MMA math being the greatest thing that you can possibly go to, aside from head-to-head competition. He thinks Racic's going to win. He thinks Racic's the better fighter. He thinks, like I do, that I think you all forgot. Rakic wasn't a huge pay-per-view star to start with. They were using him on free TV, but they were using him in really big fights, and they were using him in main events. Then he got hurt. Then he comes in against a world champion, wins the only completed round, but ultimately loses the fight while on undercard. You guys have forgot. I can't tell you what to do. My words have to be specific. I can't tell you what to do financially. But I'll tell you about my partners at DraftKings, because somebody got this very, very wrong.